we separate the mind, body, and emotions, right? Mind, body, soul, you might call it. So, we have personal trainers to look after our body and our physical well-being. And a lot of people are doing that proactively. The opposite would be, I'm not going to exercise until I have a heart attack, which we know is craziness.
Sure.
But when we look at our mental and emotional well-being, so how we think about ourselves in our life and how we feel about ourselves in our life, most people don't do anything with that until it's really hurting.
What was it like for you starting the business? Was it the root cause of something else, or was just something in your DNA?
Look, to be honest, with the DNA part, I feel like I was always going to do something myself. And I always said that in school and in university. Like, I was always like, I'm going to work for myself and make an impact in the world. I'm going to leave it slightly better than it was before I was here. And that's really my vision. I knew that business was a tool and a method to do that. I do think small business is the way to change society and change the world. As for how this particular one came to be honest, it was born out of a place of frustration. I was really frustrated when I looked at the industry and I saw anxiety, stress, overwhelm running rampant despite all these other approaches that were meant to be helping.
Is this your first business that you've started?
This is the second one. So I had the business in the fitness space first. The US is very close to my heart because I came up with the idea for BU whilst in the US. I was traveling for 3 months. I had 3 months away from my first business and I had that real wake-up moment of going, I don't want to go home to the business I've made. Like, I've spent 3 years building this, it's finally profitable and it's paying for me to have a life, and I don't want to go back to it. I don't believe in it anymore, I don't love it, I'm not passionate about it. And I dug into that and realized it's because I wasn't making the change I wanted to make in people's lives. Yeah, so we did everything lean startup strategy. I'm very fortunate that my co-founder, Jordan Jensen, came into the business and had a bit of background in small business startup and sort of knew a lot of the things that I didn't know and helped me with that side of things. Now, we originally did a $5,000 investment between the two of us to get things rolling. And a lot of that came from closing my previous business. So when I came back from the US, I went, I'm going to close this business. I sold my client list to someone I'd trained to be a PT, and I took that money and put it straight into this business. Very quickly, we ran out of that $5,000. And we got to a point where I was like, I believe in this. I know it's going to make a difference in people's lives. I know it's going to be a massive global impact maker eventually, but right now I've still got to put food on the table.
Sure.
So Jordan and I both worked as Uber drivers for 6 months, which I think was the best thing we could have done because A, we were getting paid, right? But B, it gave us 20, 30, 40 opportunities a day to practice pitching what we did. Because everyone's question to an Uber driver is, what do you do when you're not Uber driving? We were quite fortunate that we were profitable from day one. So we really set up the business to be very lean in its overheads. It was a service-based business to start with. It still is largely. We're now branching into productization as well. But obviously with it being service side, we're just trading time for money. So we could just get as many clients as we could very quickly and build from there. To date, now we've been going for just over 2.5 years. We've only had 2 months where we lost money, where we posted a negative, and I'm very fortunate for how we've set up the company to be able to do that because it's taken so much of the pressure and stress. The amount of entrepreneurs I meet who are like, I've got this great idea. I'm like, okay, so what have you done with it? I'm like, no, it's a great idea. I'm like, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Until you take it to market, until you start talking to people, until you get out of your comfort zone and go, hey, I'm gonna tell people about this and I could get a really bad feedback and it could suck. You're not gonna learn. Literally the reason that we're still here and that this exists is my wife.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. How does she view this enterprise? Is she on board?
She is now. She's actually a graduate of our coaching program. She got coached last year by Jordan, our co-founder, just to help with her self-esteem and with her self-confidence.
Okay.
And it made massive change in her. Obviously a bit too close to home to get coached by her husband. But look, at first she didn't understand it. So she's always been supportive, but I could tell that there was this almost sense of holding back, where she didn't get it. And it wasn't until she came to some of our live events, some of our speaking tours. The way I did it was one of her greatest strengths. She's a great proofreader. And so when I got my book published, I gave her the manuscript and said, can you just proofread this for me? And of course, while she's proofreading, she's taking in the content. And I think that really, yeah, I know, right? And I know she'll probably watch this and be like, you cheeky bugger, right? I really do see us 10 years from now being to the point. I know Bhutan has done this, New Zealand has done it, I think Canada's about to. Entire countries are now measuring gross national happiness as well as GDP. So they're measuring the happiness and well-being of their citizens, tracking it, reporting on it, and proactively building it. 10 years, I see us being in a position where we're the people that are called to help with that. So when a country goes, we want to make our country happier, we want to make it more effective, they call us to help consult on that.
On yours? That's a good thing to know.
I'm assuming mine is. I don't need to touch
Yours
anything.
will always
Yeah,
be
good.
recorded.
Oh, good. So we've already got the audio clip of me admitting that I'm Australia's Ted Bundy.
Oh, yeah, we have it on camera. It will be used against you.